I saw my archenemy, whom I bankrupted, in the black market. He lost his memory, but I spent all my fortune to buy him and taught him how to make a comeback. However, when he regained his memory, he turned around and locked me up in his big villa. The story is about to begin. If you like it, remember to like and follow. On the first day I was kicked out of the house, I saw my archenemy, whom I had bankrupted, at the black market. He was beaten so badly that his face was bruised and swollen, and there was not a single piece of healthy flesh on his body. The audience outside the fence were still shouting excitedly, asking him to stand up quickly. The tattooed guy next to me spat and said, "It's really unlucky today to run into such a weak opponent. Andy is a boxer in this black market boxing ring. I don't know how long he has been in this black market. Anyway, the last time I saw him was 2 years ago. At that time, Andy was a rising star in the business world. He was so prominent that he took away the cake of many people, including our Linda family. I was ordered by my father to bankrupt him. Andy is very difficult to deal with. At the age of 26 or 27, he is more cunning than those old foxes. When I fought against him, I almost lost to him several times. If Jenny hadn't stepped in and used the beauty trap, Linda's family might have been trampled under his feet by now. After Andy went bankrupt, Jenny broke up with him immediately, and I never saw Andy again. I didn't expect that he would end up boxing in the black market. TSK, this guy is so pitiful, why was he beaten so badly? Oh, this is used as a human sandbag. What a shame about that face. The two wealthy ladies next to me sighed as they looked at Andy, who was knocked to the ground. From their conversation, I learned that Andy was picked up by the owner of a boxing ring and had nowhere else to go, so he started boxing here. He has a good-looking face, and many rich ladies come after him. When they see Andy getting beaten up badly, they will pay him to stay out of the game. The other boxers in the ring couldn't stand it and were ruthless every time they faced him. Seeing Andy being beaten and unable to stand up, the cheers in the arena became louder and louder. I was in the middle of it, but I wasn't really excited at all, because my attention was completely drawn to Andy. He was dragged off the boxing ring, with blood dripping from his forehead and face. It was heartbreaking to watch. I really can't bear it anymore. After all, it was also my fault that Andy went bankrupt and fell into this situation. Out of sympathy, as soon as the match was over, I went to find the owner of the boxing ring and told him that I wanted to buy Andy. It took a lot of trouble to buy Andy because the owner of the boxing ring thought the money I gave was too little. I said, "Andy isn't going to make much money anyway, and he got beaten so badly in that last game that he won't be able to play for the next month." When I first arrived backstage, I happened to hear the ring owner scolding today's boxer, "He's going to die. You beat him so badly. Will you pay for his medical expenses?" He was swearing. The black market is black. They would rather beat someone to death than keep him disabled. The boxing ring owner stared at me for a long time like a criminal and was reluctant to let go. I said, "If you think the money is not enough, I can write an IOU and then you can send someone to ask for it from Linda's family." "Who are you? Someone from Linda's family?" "Okay, I'll give them to you." The boxing ring owner had a drastic change of attitude. I didn't expect that even though I was kicked out of the Linda family, I could still rely on the Linda family to bully others. Then I left an IOU for $2 million. After the boxing ring owner confirmed it, he said to me, "Don't blame me for not reminding you, it's not like no one wanted to buy him before, but this guy is a bit stubborn and doesn't want to go with anyone. Whether you can take him away depends entirely on his willingness." MD, it really is the black market. He told me about this only after he had written the IOU. If Andy doesn't want to go with me, then won't my $2 million be wasted? I arrived at Andy's dormitory. It is called a dormitory, but in fact it is just a storage room at the foot of the stairs. Andy, a tall man of over 1.80 meters, was curled up on a small bed, his face and eyes were still swollen. The boss called him and pointed at me, "She bought you, so you should follow her from now on." Andy opened his eyes a little, revealing a horrible face, but his eyes were dark and clear. I bent down and looked at him. "Hey, do you want to come with me?" Before I came, my boss told me that Andy had suffered a brain injury and he didn't remember anything after he was picked up by him. I don't know if Andy still remembers me, but he should remember Jenny more than me. After all, I am somewhat similar to Jenny. Andy's gaze stayed on my face for a long time, so long that we all thought he was rejecting me. Unexpectedly, Andy spoke up, "Okay. He struggled to stand up and accidentally bumped into me. He raised his eyes and glanced at me cautiously. To be honest, the boxing ring owner and I were a little surprised. We didn't expect Andy to actually be willing to go with me. So later I asked Andy why he was willing to go with me, and he said that I looked a little familiar. Oh, it seems I guessed right. Even though he has lost his memory, Andy still can't forget Jenny who deceived him. The day after I brought Andy home, I received a call from Linda's family. My dad questioned me on the phone and asked me what I bought that cost $2 million. I didn't tell him that I bought a man. I just said, I've done so much for Linda's family company. Isn't it okay to take some interest? My dad got so angry that he hung up the phone. Then Jenny sent another message saying that her father was very angry and that I had left the Linda family and would not give me money anymore. Finally, she did not forget to show her kindness and generosity, but don't worry, Linda, if you have any difficulties, you can tell me and I will help you. Then she transferred 1,000 yuan. 1,000 yuan is just an afternoon tea for her. I originally wanted to refuse it, but then I thought about what she said, that my father would not give me money anymore, and I was penniless now and had spent the 2 million, so I had no choice but to accept it. I'm done. After I finished sighing, I heard a sound coming from the bathroom door. I looked up and saw the 2 million I had spent standing in front of me. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, long legs, and scars on the face give her a somewhat damaged beauty. This man is quite valuable. I felt a little pain, but I still accepted the $1,000 Jenny gave me without hesitation. There's a medicine box in the drawer. I asked Andy to come over and apply the medicine. After all, I spent 2 million to buy it, so I still need to fix this face first. Andy didn't say a word during the process of applying the medicine. If I hadn't happened to look down and saw his clenched fists, I would have thought he didn't feel any pain. Does it hurt? Then I'll be gentler. I moved a little more gently. Andy pursed his lips and remained silent for 2 seconds, then asked me, "Why did you buy me?" I'm not surprised Andy would ask this question. After all, he just lost his memory, not his mind. There is no difference between Andy before and after losing his memory, at most he just forgot some things. Fortunately he forgot. If he knew I was one of the enemies who caused his bankruptcy, I would probably be left here today. I said, maybe it's because we both have the same experience. You are homeless, and I am homeless too. He was cheated on by Jenny and ended up on the black market after bankruptcy. I was PUA'd by my family, worked hard and uncomplainingly to lead the company into a new stage and eliminate their competitors, but was kicked out of my home and the company the next moment. Andy ended up with nothing, and I had nothing too. Come to think of it, isn't this called sympathy? I wanted to take Andy to the hospital, but I only had $1,000 left in my pocket. If we go to the hospital, he and I will probably end up on the streets. So I said to Andy, I'm out of money. I only have $1,000 left. We have to survive. Andy looked at me and said sincerely, you don't have to spend so much money on me. I'm easy to support. Quite sensible. I raised an eyebrow, and he added, besides, I'll pay you back your money. Okay, I'll wait. I stood up and put away the medicine box. There's only one room in the house. You can sleep on the sofa in the living room. Andy didn't object. It has been 2 months since I left Linda's family, but my biological clock still hasn't adjusted. At 6:30 in the morning, I opened my eyes as usual and stared at the small and low ceiling for a while, then I remembered that I had been kicked out of Linda's family. I heard some noise in the living room and when I opened the door I saw a man doing push-ups on the floor. Andy was only wearing a pair of shorts. As he moved up and down vigorously, the muscles of his whole body were stretched to look particularly full and beautiful. You can't believe that the former elites actually had such perfect skin under their suits. I leaned against the doorframe and watched for a while, and Andy seemed to just notice me. He propped himself up and stood up. Did I disturb you? No. I asked him why he exercised so early in the morning. Andy was silent for a moment. If you don't exercise, it will be hard to bear when you get beaten. I didn't expect this to be the reason. But think about it, compared with professional boxers, even if Andy is stronger and more powerful than the average person, he can only get beaten. I opened the refrigerator, unpacked a bag of bread, took out a few slices, and handed the rest to Andy. I'm going out later, you can take care of your lunch by yourself. Before leaving, Andy looked at me hesitantly as if he wanted to say something. What's up? Can you bring me a set of clothes when you come back? My eyes naturally fell on Andy's 8-pack abs. Andy looked a little awkward. He came to my place with only one set of clothes, which was what he was wearing, and he had washed it yesterday. Good. I nodded and Andy breathed a sigh of relief. I asked a runner to deliver a set of clothes to Andy, which cost me $300. Seeing that nearly half of the $1,000 was spent, I felt so painful. After being kicked out of Linda's family, all my cards were deactivated, and even my cell phone was formatted before being returned to me, not to mention my computer. They confiscated it on the pretext that they were afraid I would take away the company information. It can be said that I left Linda's family with nothing. I already knew that my parents didn't like me, but I never thought they would push me to this extent. For a moment, I didn't know whether to sigh or cry. But the most urgent thing is that I have to find a job to support my daily expenses before Andy recovers from his injury. I sent my resume to many companies, but was rejected at the first round because of my academic qualifications. It's not for any other reason, because I started working hard for Linda's family company when I was 18 years old, and I didn't even go to college. Because of this, many companies rejected me without even looking at the content of my resume. I had no choice but to find a job in real estate sales. At first I just made phone calls, and later I went out to distribute flyers and do business. What I didn't expect was that I would meet acquaintances when selling a house. Linda? When someone called me, I was ready to put on a big smile and greet them, but when I turned around, I saw Franklin and Jenny beside him. Franklin looked at me with joy and surprise, and a hint of disbelief. He even forgot that there was someone next to him and took 2 steps towards me excitedly. It's really you. At that moment, I felt that the world was really small. Franklin is only 3 years older than me, but he and Jenny are classmates. When everyone celebrated Jenny's birthday as a kid, only Franklin noticed me sitting alone in the corner. He gave me a piece of cake and gently asked if I was Jenny's sister. At that sensitive age when my parents didn't like me, Franklin's intrusion was like a ray of sunshine. Even after I joined the company and met him many times in the business world as competitors, my feelings for him were always different from those for others. I like Franklin. When he touched my head gently, when I held his hand and he never let go, when I confessed to him in a low voice and he smiled gently without saying anything, I always thought that Franklin liked me too. Later, he proposed to Jenny at the graduate school graduation ceremony, and I got a reply from him, "You are my sister from now on." Several years of love were wasted. It would be a lie to say I wasn't sad, but it was more disgusting. I had no more contact with Franklin, even though he tried to show his concern for me several times in the name of future brother-in-law, but I avoided him again and again until he took over his own company and was sent to another place, and we never met again. I didn't expect that as soon as I was kicked out of Linda's family, Franklin would come back. In response to Franklin's actions, I simply took 2 steps back, looked him straight in the eye, and said, "Buying a house?" Franklin froze in place. Jenny was probably afraid that he would be embarrassed, so she quickly stepped forward and took his arm, smiling and saying to me, "Linda, I didn't expect to meet you here." My feelings towards Jenny are actually more complicated than those towards Franklin. She and I are sisters, we have the same blood, but our experiences are completely opposite. My parents don't like me, they only like her. While I was working hard for the company, she could happily and peacefully choose the major she wanted to study and complete her studies. Even though what she studied had nothing to do with management, she could still easily take my place when she returned from her studies. My dad said, "Everything in the house belongs to Jenny." My mother said, "Don't argue with your sister." Growing up, no matter how well I did, they could only see Jenny. As for Jenny, she actually knew my situation but chose to remain silent. I didn't respond to Jenny, who felt awkward, so she just smiled to herself and said, "Linda, we're here to look at wedding houses, do you have any recommendations?" When she said wedding room, Franklin looked at me. I pretended not to see it and pointed, "This way, please." For the next 20 minutes, I introduced the most expensive rooms to Franklin and Jenny. Jenny asked a lot of questions and asked me some house knowledge and precautions from time to time. At the end she smiled and said, "Linda, you really understand." I didn't know whether her words were a compliment or a mockery, so I just smiled as a simple response. Franklin frowned, seemingly unhappy. "How much are these sets?" Franklin asked. I quoted the highest price directly without any discount. It's all ordered, just swipe the card. When Franklin took out the card, the entire sales hall fell silent. I didn't expect Franklin to be so generous. I would have said more if I had known. I was afraid that Franklin would change his mind, so I just took his card and swiped it. Are you kidding? This is hundreds of thousands of dollars in performance commission. If you get this order, you won't have to worry about the next few months. Instead, Jenny felt a little uncomfortable. Franklin, we only need one wedding house, why did you buy so many? You can't choose? Just buy it and choose it yourself. I happened to hear this conversation when I came back from preparing the contract. Many people who didn't know the inside story looked at the two people with envy, but I was the only one who heard it. Franklin's tone was obviously absent-minded, and Jenny must have noticed it, because the smile I showed seemed a little forced. I didn't take Franklin and Jenny seriously, but some people just want to get in your way. Ever since Franklin knew I was selling my house, he would come to my workplace to block me every day. It wasn't harassment, he just chose a cafe to sit in, and then followed me home after I got off work. This person obviously has something to say to me, but he looks so affectionate that he dares not approach me. He followed for a few days, and even Andy noticed. Who is that person downstairs? Not familiar. I said. Andy knew that I knew this person and was deeply troubled by him at the moment. He's been with you for a long time. Do you want me to help you beat him away? I looked at Andy in surprise, and Andy looked back at me seriously. The wounds on his face have healed a lot, the swelling has gone down, his facial features are tough and handsome, his brows are deep, and there is a sense of coldness that makes him look unapproachable. But his words were so straightforward and his eyes were so sincere. I couldn't help but laugh, ignore him. But I still overestimated Franklin's endurance. After a week of me ignoring him, Franklin finally stopped me on my way off work. Linda. What's up? I was also rushing back to have dinner with Andy. Franklin looked at me with a look that seemed to indicate he wanted to say something but was hesitant. I think he is fussy and I am going to try to avoid him. Franklin said, I know everything about you, Linda, and I'm here to help you. Help me? I laughed when I heard it. How are you going to help me? Convince my parents to let me go back to Linda family, ask them to stop favoring Jenny? Treat me equally? Or convince Jenny to give me back everything she has now? Franklin blanched, then fell silent. I sneered disdainfully. Franklin said he would help me, but I didn't believe him. He didn't even respond to the suggestion I just made. I guess his help to me should be to give me some money or help me find a better job. I don't care. I did so much for Linda's family, but they thought I had ulterior motives and was trying to steal Jenny's things, so they kicked me out without even opening their mouths. At first, I didn't want Linda family's things, but after what they did, I wanted to fight for them. Franklin, you haven't become son-in-law of the Linda family, stay out of my business. I said bluntly and turned away. Franklin tried to grab me, but was knocked off his feet before he could touch me. What are you doing? Andy? Why is he here? Not only me, but Franklin was also confused. Then he looked at me and opened his mouth to say something. Linda, who is he? It's none of your business. I almost forgot, the story between Jenny and Andy happened long before they got engaged, and Franklin had never met Andy. Andy stared at Franklin warily. Stay away from her. Franklin stared at Andy angrily, ignored him, and looked at me expectantly. I don't want to pay any attention to him anymore. Franklin, you've been coming to see me all week. Don't forget that you have a fiancé. Don't let the paparazzi take pictures of you and Jenny is having a relationship problem and she wants to drag me into it. I don't want to get involved in your shit. Franklin's face really changed, and he really didn't follow. On the way I asked Andy why he came. This guy has been following you for so many days. I'm afraid you'll really be entangled by him. Well, Andy was prescient. Andy and I walked home, and Andy was very silent the whole way. Do you have something to ask me? Who is that man just now to you? I stopped, surprised that Andy would ask this question. He is my future brother-in-law. I didn't hide anything from Andy and told him what happened between Jenny, me and Franklin. Of course, when I refer to Jenny, I always call her my sister. Andy didn't doubt or remember anything. He said, so, you were kicked out? I nodded and continued walking forward. Andy suddenly stopped. I think you deserve those things more than your sister. This was the first time I heard this from someone else, and this person was my former competitor. I was stunned for a long time, and after a while, I smiled. I think so too. For some time afterwards, I never saw Franklin again, and I didn't want to care about him. Later, the commission from selling the house arrived on time. The moment I received the money, I immediately called my good friend Brittany. On the day we met, she hugged me and pounded my back while scolding me. "Where have you been? There's no news at all. I almost thought you disappeared from the face of the earth." During the 3 months since I left Linda's family, there has been an endless stream of reports about me in the financial newspapers. It started with my dad holding a press conference to announce that I would no longer hold any management position in the Linda family company, and then someone photographed me walking out of the company and Linda's family alone. The photo was as desolate as it could be. "They all said you were kicked out, Linda family, is this true?" Brittany asked me. After getting my answer, she was furious. "This is too much. You have done so much for Linda's family, and they just want to kick you out. Your parents are too partial. Isn't this to be expected?" I in turn comforted Brittany. After a while, I said, "I came to see you today because I have something to ask of you." "You say? I heard your cousin is starting a business." "Oh, he was just fooling around." I looked serious, and Brittany's attitude changed accordingly. "You don't mean to?" "Yes, that's why I came to see Brittany today. Like Andy said, I am the most suitable person to take over everything in Linda's family. Silent acceptance has never been my character. Whatever benefits I created for Linda's family, I will take back from it. I had planned to start a new business long ago and had been preparing funds. I received a large commission from selling the house to Franklin, which greatly reduced the time cost of raising funds. As long as I borrow a little more money and invest in the company where Brittany's cousin works, then the first step will be taken successfully. No matter whether I lend it to you or not, I'll just give you whatever you want." Brittany simply pulled out her phone. "In addition to this, there is another thing, that is Andy. The type of company that Brittany's cousin started is the same type of company that Andy started." Brittany looked at the photo of Andy on my phone and her eyes widened in surprise. "Oh my God. Where did you find this Wulong?" When Andy succeeded in starting his own business, he became a rising star in the shopping mall overnight. I don't know how many reports there are that Andy is a genius. Later Andy went bankrupt and there was no news of him. Many people sighed and lamented the passing of the genius. But they didn't expect that I would find Andy. To me, Andy today is nothing more than a dragon trapped in shallow water. Just give him one more chance. My meeting with Brittany was a great success. Brittany couldn't wait to call her cousin in front of me and said, "Brother, I found a super cheat for you." After making an appointment to meet again with Brittany's cousin, I returned to the rental house. Andy is cleaning. During the more than 1 month that Andy stayed at my house, in order to avoid being an idler, he took the initiative to take on the cleaning and housework at home. "You're back?" Andy continued to fry flour in his apron. I responded without saying anything else, but Andy looked at me and knew I had something to say. I told him about my conversation with Brittany. After saying that, I was actually a little worried that Andy would be unwilling, but he nodded without any hesitation. "Don't you even think about it?" "Don't think about it, I'll do anything you ask me to do." I raised my eyebrows. For the first time, I thought Andy's straightforwardness was a little cute. We met Brittany's cousin again, and unexpectedly, Brittany's cousin was actually a die-hard fan of Andy. When I saw Andy's success in starting a business, I also wanted to start my own business. Now, whenever he sees Andy, he grabs his hand excitedly. "Idol, is it really you?" "Idol?" I looked at Andy, who was pursing his lips tightly and looking forbearing, and I couldn't help but smile. Brittany put her arm around my shoulders and said, "Hey, did Andy really lose his memory? Then he's been living at your house for a while?" She looked excited and gossipy. I was stunned for a moment, then realized what she meant. Before I could say anything, I saw Andy turned and looked at me. He seemed to have heard what Brittany said. Andy successfully joined Brittany's cousin's company. I invested all my money in Andy's name, and with Andy's skills and Brittany's cousin's blind trust in Andy, Andy now has a say in the company's decision-making. As for me, of course I continued to work in real estate sales. Brittany didn't understand my choice, and I told her, "This is called keeping a low profile and quietly amaze everyone. I want Andy to reappear in front of the public, and it will not only shock Andy, but also me behind Andy." What if he recovers his memory one day and then destroys the bridge? Brittany asked me again. I didn't say anything this time. After all, I was taking a gamble by saving Andy. After Andy started working, he started leaving home early and coming back late. Sometimes when I came home from get off work and saw the house was dark, I actually felt a little uncomfortable. After Brittany knew that I was living in a one-bedroom apartment, she asked me if I wanted to move in with her, or if I wanted to move to a bigger house. I said forget it. Until her cousin's company gets off the ground, she has to spend money frugally. But she was right about one thing, it was not a good idea for Andy to sleep on the sofa in the living room. After all, entrepreneurs have a harder life. In the first month after he started working, there were many times when he came back at 6 or 7 in the morning, and when I woke up and opened the door, I saw him sleeping on the sofa. Finally one day, I woke him up. Andy? Andy hummed in confusion, then opened his eyes and saw it was me. What's wrong? Would you like to go to your room and sleep? Andy was stunned, and his sleepy eyes gradually cleared up. He stared at me without saying anything. I don't know why, but I stuttered when I tried to explain. I mean, I'm going to work, you can sleep in my room. You sleep during the day and I sleep at night, so it shouldn't affect me. Andy said that was not a good idea. I've already said it, so of course I can only say it's okay. It was easy to persuade Andy. After that day, Andy and I slept in one room during the day and one room at night. Sometimes, to avoid embarrassment, Andy would come home after I got to work and leave before I got off work. My room is as clean and tidy as when I left, but it gradually begins to take on the feel of another person's life. The next time I saw Franklin and Jenny was at the end of November, half a year after I left Linda's family. Andy has been in the class for 3 months. Brittany said that her cousin's company had recently taken on a new big project, and if it could be successfully completed, the company's development would enter a new level. Linda, let's have dinner together after work. Brittany sent me the location. Before leaving get off work, I received a message from Andy. I'll pick you up later. Good. As expected, I saw Andy after get off work. A few months later, he was completely different from when I met him at the black market. He had returned to the familiar look I had seen when I was his opponent. He is wearing a suit and has black hair. His brows are cool and his eyes are cold, steady, and wise. He exudes an aloof and indifferent temperament. Andy opened the passenger door for me and fastened my seat belt for me. He didn't say a word during the whole process. After getting in the car, he handed me a package and asked, "What is this?" I said as I unpacked it. Before he could answer, I had already seen what was inside. It's a small cake. At this time Andy said, "I bought this on the way, you can fill your stomach first." Oh, but this store doesn't seem to be on our way. I pretended not to notice the way Andy's arms were tense with nervousness. I opened it and took a bite. Is it delicious? Delicious. Andy didn't say anything, but I saw that he seemed relieved. After getting off the bus, we met Franklin and Jenny. This time it was Jenny who called me first. When I turned around and saw it was her, my eyelids twitched for no reason. Jenny is actually here. She would see Andy. Sure enough, after she called me, her eyes fell on Andy behind me. In just a breath, her eyes were filled with shattered shock. Andy. You guys. I don't know how Jenny feels about Andy. At the beginning, she saw that Andy was young and promising, and she expressed her affection and admiration for him many times. Later, he stole Andy's company's confidential contracts, which dealt Andy a fatal blow of bankruptcy. After the breakup, she was still able to get engaged to Franklin as if nothing had happened. In Jenny's mind, Andy should be like one of her trophies. But now, facing her former trophy, Jenny actually showed a guilty look. Andy was also stunned when he saw Jenny. Just when I thought he still remembered Jenny, he tilted his head and asked me, "Do you know each other?" "Yeah, my sister." No wonder they look alike. From beginning to end, he only glanced at Jenny and reminded me, "Let's go." Good. That same evening, Jenny messaged me. She kept asking me why I was with Andy. Oh, she doesn't know about Andy's amnesia yet. I'm not going to tell her either. What's it to you? I expressed my indifference towards Jenny directly. Jenny didn't reply. I thought she would just stop there, but I didn't expect her to come to my dad. When my dad called me, I was stunned for a moment. After all, the last time we chatted was when he questioned me what I had spent $2 million on. I answered the call. The other party directly said, "Come home for dinner on the weekend." "I'm not free. I won't go." The tone of this notice. I just hung up. My dad must have been very angry and called me several more times, but I didn't answer any of them. Finally, my mother called. But don't expect her to be gentle or kind. After all, she doesn't like me either. Sure enough, as soon as I swiped the answer button, my mother's questioning tone came over. "Why don't you answer your dad's call? What's up? If not, I'll hang up on you." "Linda, is this how you talk to me?" "Well, isn't that the same attitude you have when you talk to me?" The voice on the other end of the line was silent, and all I could hear was my mother's heavy breathing. I didn't have time to deal with her questions and negative emotions, so I hung up. This was the first time I had directly rebelled against Linda's family since I left them. Before this, I naively thought that one day they would see and appreciate my existence. But how could the disgust and dislike that had accumulated over 20 years be eliminated in an instant? I no longer expect their love and affection. I will live for myself. Andy sometimes takes work home to do, and he never shy away from doing it in front of me. Even when he saw me lingering behind him, he would explain the content and progress of the project to me and ask for my opinion. We sometimes have disagreements, and sometimes even quarrels. But later, Andy would patiently tell me the irrationality of my decision, and then apologize to me. "Sorry, my tone was not very good last night." In fact, after I calmed down, I also thought about Andy's approach. Admittedly, Andy is naturally much more decisive and bold than I am when it comes to making decisions in business. No wonder he succeeded in starting his own business in just a few years on his own. Some people's talents cannot be envied. Although Andy has lost his memory now, he does these things just as well as before, and is even more adept at it. On many occasions, I have avoided many business traps by relying on my own judgment and intuition. Andy joked that maybe he actually had a talent for it. I didn't dare tell him that he had experienced these things before he lost his memory. Andy's company has been moving forward steadily, gradually making a name for itself in the industry, and has been noticed by many media outlets. And I, on every day when no one pays attention to me, quietly wait for the day when the fireworks explode. Jenny came to my workplace to find me. She looked at me with complicated and resentful eyes. "You are the one who helped Andy behind the scenes, right? You are taking revenge on me?" "I don't want revenge on Linda's family, I just want to take back what belongs to me." In the nearly 1 year since I left Linda's family, the family's assets have shrunk significantly. I always felt that there was actually no competition between me and Jenny. Jenny is suitable to be a beautiful vase packaged by a wealthy family. What she wants is countless praises and fame. As for me, I can support the Linda family. What I want is power. But Jenny didn't understand all this. Her parents have favored her since she was a child, so she doesn't feel that she has too many things. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Jenny's eyes gradually filled with tears. "Linda, why did you become like this? Aren't we a family?" It turns out she also knows that we are a family. I didn't talk to Jenny for long because Andy came. He knew that I didn't like Jenny, and came to find me when he saw that I hadn't gone home after get-off work. "Why didn't you answer my call?" I turned off the mute. I didn't hear it. Andy was a little unhappy. He put the coat he brought on me and said, "Go home." He didn't even look at Jenny the whole time. As we walked away side by side, Jenny, with tears in her eyes, called out, "Andy." Andy frowned and looked back, but the confusion was only for a second. "Do we know each other?" I coughed before Jenny could speak, and Andy's attention returned to me. "Come on, Andy." I admit, I didn't want Andy and Jenny to meet each other. Fortunately, Andy didn't take this incident seriously. Jenny still found out about Andy's amnesia. In fact, it is not surprising. If she is willing, she will definitely be able to find out. Jenny came to me right away. She didn't complain like last time, but questioned me angrily and confidently. "Linda, I didn't expect you to be so despicable. Do you feel ashamed to cheat on Andy?" "I'm not as despicable as you. Who deceived me in the first place? Andy stole his company's secrets and caused him to go bankrupt." I looked indifferent. Jenny was speechless and pale. I kindly reminded her, "Also, who are you questioning me as? Andy's ex-girlfriend? Don't forget, you are Franklin's fiancé now." Jenny was speechless. I didn't want to pay attention to her and stood up to leave. Jenny suddenly called me. "Linda, you like Andy, right?" I stopped and looked back at Jenny coldly. Jenny gave me a mocking smile. Don't try to lie to me. What do you think Andy would do if he knew you lied to him too? It won't be a big deal, at most it will just fall apart like what happened to Jenny before. Andy would be even angrier. Especially after he regained his memory. Reason tells me that I should get back the money I spent on Andy as soon as possible. With the money I invested in the shares and the money Andy owed me, I could make Andy penniless again. But I hesitated. Andy came back late at night and saw the light on in my room. He asked me why I was still awake. Andy's company is developing very fast, and he can now afford a big house, but Andy still comes back to this rental house every day, sharing a room with me, or curling up on the small sofa at night. I never asked Andy why he didn't move out, just as I never asked Andy to leave here. I like Andy, and maybe Andy likes me too. Andy, I have something to tell you. Andy rubbed his eyes and walked to the fridge to drink some water. You say. I like you. Andy's movements seemed frozen. Slowly and mechanically he turned his head. What did you say? I swallowed and pretended to be calm. I like you. Andy suddenly strode over. The living room was not big, and he walked up to me in just a few steps. His eyes were fixed on any subtle expression on my face, as if checking whether I was lying. Say it again. I like you. No matter how many times Andy asks, I always say these 4 words. Andy was stunned again as he listened. Then he laughed and started spinning in circles. He asked me if I was kidding. I said no. Then he laughed again. He was still wearing the suit he hadn't taken off yet. He looked handsome, steady, and dignified, but at this moment he was laughing like a child. If he is happy, I am happy. So I laughed too. Hey, you haven't told me about you yet. Andy picked me up from the couch and spun me around twice. I've liked you for a long time. After confirming the relationship with Andy, Andy became full of energy every day as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Linda, I want to buy a big house, and then we can move in and live there forever. Brittany soon found out about Andy and I. He has good vision and knows who the treasure is. When she said this, she was referring to Jenny. I smiled and said nothing. Brittany bumped my shoulder. Hey, I heard Jenny is looking for a brain specialist. What does she want to do? What else can I do? Ever since she knew Andy had lost his memory, she had wanted to find Andy more than once. Then you have to watch Jenny, I can't let her. I've been planning to bring Andy went to the doctor. I interrupted Brittany. Brittany was shocked. See a doctor? What if Andy regains his memory? You guys. There's no point in running away. I don't want to live in the worry that my dream might be shattered at any time. I'm going to take Andy to the doctor. At first Andy didn't understand. I said, are you going to love me like this without knowing anything? Andy, you like me now, and we can be together happily. If you recover your memory, will you still like me? One day Andy will regain his memory. If he knew that I was his mortal enemy who caused him to go bankrupt, would he still like me as much as he does now? I joined Linda's family company when I was 18 years old and had many confrontations with others in the business world. I will not do things based on probability. But with Andy, this is my second bet. Andy, don't tell me so quickly. When you remember everything, we can talk about it. I watched Andy go into the operating room. Andy took my hand and traced his fingertips across my palm. Linda, why do I rarely see you smile? I was stunned for a moment, then quickly put on a smile. How about this? When you get better, I will smile for you every day. The operation was a bit difficult. I sat on a bench in the corridor with my hands pressed against my brow. Time passed by minute, and the lights in the operating room remained on. I didn't wait for the operating room door to open, but instead waited for the people my father brought. As soon as I got home, a newspaper was thrown at me. Then came my dad's angry voice, you still remember to come back? How many things have you helped Andy do? Do you still know who you belong to? My dad's chest heaved with anger. My mother followed suit but didn't say anything, and the look she gave me was mostly full of blame and dissatisfaction. Jenny was sitting next to him, trying to persuade my dad in a soft and gentle voice. I felt out of place in the whole house. I smoothed my hair that was messed up by the newspaper. Didn't you let me come back? You were the one who drove me away in the first place. They were stunned. I didn't expect that once I went out, all the rebellious nature would come out. My dad glared at me and my mom scolded me. Linda, how can you talk like that? My mother stood up. Do you know how much business has Andy taken from us? And you are still helping him? I know. Wasn't it me who negotiated for those businesses before? Is there any problem if I take them away now? When I first started working in the company, my father didn't let me take any shortcuts. Through my own efforts, I negotiated business deals one by one, gained the trust and recognition of customers, and created a lot of profits for Linda's family. My parents can't see it. Once Jenny came back and said she wanted to take over the company, they asked her to take my place and my clients. This is not the way to grab credit. I disagreed, so my dad said, "Get out of the Linda family. I won't leave you anything from the Linda family." As he wished, I left Linda's family. Jenny later took over my position and my clients. I told you she wasn't cut out for management. During this year, not only did she fail to create any benefits for the company, but the clients I had previously negotiated back did not renew their contracts after the end of the cooperation period. Those clients chose to work with Andy. It's one thing to do it for my sake, but isn't the more important thing that Andy's company has more potential? But now, in my parents' view, it's all my fault. It turns out that I have such great ability in their hearts. This trip home was destined to end in a bad mood. I turned around to leave, but to my surprise, they stopped me again. You just have too wild a mind. From now on, you are not allowed to go anywhere. Go to hell. Andy is still in surgery waiting for me to get back. I had a serious argument with them for the first time. It ended with a slap on my face. I was locked up in Linda's family and my cell phone was confiscated. I lost touch with Andy. I went on a hunger strike in protest, so they gave me a nutrient solution. The needle made my arm bruise and swollen. Jenny looks down on me. A few days later she came to my bedside. Andy is out of hospital, his surgery was a great success, and he remembered me. She looked at me calmly and indifferently, with a hint of provocation in her eyes. I had expected this outcome a long time ago. I couldn't help but feel a pang in my heart when I heard it. Then what? Does he still remember me? At this moment Jenny saw through what I was thinking. Look down at me. Do you want to know if he still remembers you? You will find out soon. Jenny said she would take me to the dinner. I knew she wouldn't be so kind, but it was the only way I could see Andy. Sure enough, there was a business banquet 3 days later. Linda's family invited me to attend. Not for any other reason, because this banquet was hosted by Linda's family. No wonder. I put on makeup to make myself look less frail. Jenny and my parents were surrounded by people in the crowd. Occasionally someone would see me and murmur something. I didn't show up in front of everyone and was looking for Andy. It wasn't long before I saw him. With Brittany's cousin. These two people have risen sharply in the business circle recently. Especially Andy. Everyone in this circle knows more or less about Andy's past glory. At this moment Andy makes a comeback. These people can still appear to be harmonious and cheerful, chatting and laughing. Especially my parents and Jenny. The three of them smiled peacefully and closely, and if you didn't know, you would think they had a very good relationship with Andy. Andy was surrounded by people. Goblets, champagne, exquisite cuffs and brooches. Calm and elegant, with an indescribable nobleness. His eyes were dark, with a familiar coldness and aloofness. It's the Andy I'm familiar with. Whether it is before memory is restored or after memory is lost. I found a familiar shadow in him. I don't know if my eyes are too greedy and direct. Andy in the crowd seemed to sense it. He turned his head suddenly. The strange and indifferent eyes just locked onto me. At that moment, my heart began to beat. I took 2 steps forward. Unexpectedly, Andy looked away. I just stood there in a daze. The look in his eyes was no different from the one he gave me before he lost his memory. He is not familiar with me. I want to see Andy alone. When the banquet was in the second half, I saw him walking towards the balcony on the 2nd floor. I called Andy. He turned to look at me and called me, Linda. A very businesslike tone. I couldn't utter a word. Then Jenny appeared out of nowhere. She was really worried that something might come to light when Andy and I were alone together. Linda, what are you doing here? If you are not feeling well, go back and rest. She pinched my arm and dragged me away almost by force. Andy, my sister is not feeling well, please don't be offended. I had already used up most of my energy by the time I made it to the second half of the banquet. Hear Jenny say this. I couldn't help but glare at her. Andy's expression was a little dull. She glanced at me calmly and said, "She doesn't look very well. She may have low blood sugar. The small cakes in the banquet hall taste good. You can give her a piece to try." "Good." Jenny responded gently. I rejoined the Linda family. Someone brings me meals 3 times a day. I'm not on a hunger strike anymore. But the condition is still not good. I don't know how many days passed in this daze. Suddenly, a fierce quarrel was heard downstairs. The voice is very familiar. Like Brittany. Sure enough, my door was opened after a while. Linda. Brittany. The moment I saw Brittany, she seemed like my savior. Brittany rushed over to me and looked at the nutrient solution still hanging in my hand. "God damn it, how could they do this to you?" Brittany scooped me up. "Come on, I'll take you home." She helped me to the door just as Jenny came back. "Brittany. What are you doing?" "I'm going to sue you for trespassing." Jenny just finished speaking. Brittany slapped him across the face. "Fuck you. Go ahead and sue me. Let's see whether trespassing is more serious or you are imprisoning and restricting someone's personal freedom." After beating and scolding him, she still felt unsatisfied. He also kicked Jenny. "Get lost." Jenny screamed. No one dared to stop us anymore. Brittany half dragged, half carried me to the car. I really have no strength left. Leaning on Brittany's shoulder. Go to sleep, go to sleep." Brittany touches my head. I hummed, my nose felt sore, and tears immediately fell. Brittany took me to a strange villa. I found another doctor to see me. "Don't worry, they won't find this place." She touched my head to comfort me. I didn't ask about Linda's family. But you can get news about them from financial newspapers and news. Linda's family has recently been involved in a debt dispute. In addition, some media reported that the products they sold had quality issues. The series of events that happened one after another caused the Linda family's stock price to continue to fall. "You deserve it." Brittany peeled an apple for me. I took a bite and it was quite sweet. "Linda, what do you want to eat tonight?" "I'll ask Auntie to make it." "I want to see Andy," I said. Brittany paused. Andy returned to the villa at 7 p.m. He stood at the door and hesitated for a long time. I saw his car on the second floor. When I reached the stairs, I bumped into Andy who was coming in. He was stunned when he saw me. I stopped too. That moment seemed to last forever. Then I ran downstairs. Andy anticipated my move and embraced me with his arms open. "Andy." I choked up, "I knew it was you." Andy said nothing, but his breathing became heavier. The arm holding me was probably using 100% of its strength. His voice was a little hoarse. "How do you know it's me?" "You let the cupcake Jenny gave me wasn't tasty at all." Andy laughed lightly. He said that when he woke up after the operation and didn't see me, he guessed that I was in Linda's family. But Jenny came to see him a few days later. After testing him to recover his memory, I just cried and poured out my heart to Andy. She also said that I asked her to do all this. Jenny thought Andy would forget about me once his memory recovered. She thought she was acting in a TV series. Andy hasn't forgotten me. Jenny also confirmed that I am in Linda's family. The last time we met at the banquet, he wanted to take me away. Linda's family watches me too closely. Later he asked Brittany to come forward. He was out there trying to trip up Linda's family company. At this time, Linda's family was worried about various things. I no longer have time to take care of me. Andy bought this villa a long time ago. He settled me here and told me not to worry about anything outside. When I was in a good mood, I would joke with him, "Are you going to lock me up here?" "It's not impossible." He used the same joking tone as me. When I couldn't help laughing, I suddenly realized that his eyes were serious. "Linda, I love seeing you smile. You can act like a spoiled child with me, or you can act unreasonably. You don't have to pretend to be so sensible and serious, and girls don't have to work so hard." His voice was gentle, like water at just the right temperature for your throat. After drinking it, your whole body feels warm. I didn't say anything, but my eyes were sore. After recovering his memory, Andy became more decisive and ruthless. He is extremely perceptive and takes drastic measures to carve out a wider path for himself. The rise of new forces is too powerful. I was afraid he would offend people again like before. He comforted me, "I won't fall into the same pit twice." In addition, he almost launched a retaliatory attack on Linda's family. First, bribery by senior executives was investigated, and then previous debt disputes caused problems with the company's cash flow. As the new manager, Jenny not only failed to handle the matter properly, but also accused Andy of excessive measures at the press conference. After learning that Jenny and Andy had been in a relationship, some media started gossiping online, saying things like love turns to hate and a business dispute is actually an emotional dispute. It's a good thing they could write it. In the end, the gossip was taken down less than 2 hours after it was posted online. Linda's family hit rock bottom. My dad finally couldn't help it and called me. He still spoke to me in an imperative tone, asking me to ask Andy to stop attacking Linda's family. Of course I didn't listen. Dad, you are no longer qualified to order me around. My dad was breathing heavily with anger. Not to mention Jenny. She was entangled in various trivial matters in the company and dared not appear in front of me at all. Later, Jenny asked to put her marriage to Franklin on the agenda as soon as possible, hoping to use the Franklin family to save the precarious Linda family. The Franklin family initially refused. After all, at times like this, everyone would stay as far away as possible, for fear of being involved. Just when I thought Jenny's marriage to the Franklin family would fall through, Franklin actually agreed. This made me look at him with a new respect. Although Jenny and Franklin's wedding was hastily held, it still received a lot of media coverage. I happened to see it when I was scrolling through my phone, and I stayed on it for a few seconds before Andy caught it. "What are you looking at?" I showed him the page. Andy raised an eyebrow. "Why? Can't forget the old love? Shouldn't I be the one saying this to you?" I replied to him. "What old feelings do I have? Oh, I forgot to mention that Andy never dated Jenny. At that time, Jenny would create chance encounters and appear in front of Andy every few days. Later, the media captured Jenny's ambiguous answer, which led everyone to mistakenly believe that they were dating. As for the fact that Jenny stole Andy's company documents and caused him to go bankrupt, stealing the documents is true, but causing him to go bankrupt is a bit exaggerated. The real reason was that Andy was tricked by his rival, and Jenny happened to steal the file. It's never the last straw that breaks the camel's back. Andy was too young and hot-headed at that time, and he offended many people. After bankruptcy, there are many people seeking revenge. That's why Andy showed up in the black market boxing ring injured and was discovered by me. When I first met Jenny, thought she was as capable as you, but later found out that you two are different in every way except that you look alike. Andy complained to me. Now I joke with Andy. Andy grabbed my phone in a hurry. He grabbed my hand and pushed it aside. The distance was too close, and even the atmosphere felt a little sticky. The bedside lamp was too dim and too warm. Andy looked me in the eyes. "Linda, I raised my head and kissed him unexpectedly. Andy was stunned immediately. Then he picked me up. We sat face to face, and even our temperatures were remarkably similar. "Linda, kiss me again," he said. I leaned down and kissed him again. One more kiss. Although I was a little puzzled, I did it anyway. But this time I couldn't leave quickly enough. Andy controlled my neck. I was in a higher position than him, and he tilted his head back and kissed me, turning passivity into initiative. It turns out Andy is pretty good at push-ups. I slept until the next morning. Meanwhile, the kitchen had already started preparing lunch. My aunt knocked on the door and said someone was looking for me. It's my mom. The day after Jenny's wedding, my mother came to my door. "Linda, this is your sister's wedding candy." She handed me a bag of gift boxes. I didn't answer, I just said thank you. Maybe it was because my attitude was too cold that she looked a little helpless. When I communicated with her, she didn't want to pay attention to me, and I had the same expression. My mother doesn't like me, and the reason is a little funny. After giving birth to me, she was forced to have her uterus removed. Not only did I make her suffer, but I also made it impossible for her to continue to be a mother. But I am her child too, right? My mother gave a flattering and kind smile. "Your father said that he agrees to let you return to the company to manage it." These words made my eyelids jump. I don't know if it's because they think I've been submissive for more than 20 years that they can still say such words at this moment. They didn't do it out of guilt, but because they hoped that I would take over the company again so that Andy would let Linda's family go. Linda's family is now a hot potato and a mess. "Why do you think I will come back, Linda family?" I spoke bluntly, but my smile was sarcastic. My mother's face changed. I no longer have the heart to talk to her. Take your things away. Take care. I won't see you off. Once the door was closed, I had nothing to do with Linda's family anymore. Andy's new business venture is developing smoothly. Many years later, the night before the company went public, Andy coaxed me into signing a share transfer agreement. I voluntarily transfer all my shares to Tom's. Linda, from now on, I will work for you alone. When I rescued Andy, he told me that he would return the money to me. He did pay it back, hundreds and thousands of times over to me, including himself.